Hello. Welcome back to another episode of The Towel Boy, where we give you the cleanest takes in sports. We're back at it again with our week five picks and predictions, where we break down each game, what we're looking forward to, and again, then going to give our predictions for the winners of each game, right? Uh, this week, I feel like after a month in the season, we can kind of get a real idea, real take on what each team's identity is, their philosophy, which players are legit and which players, maybe had a fluke start. Like Quentin Johnson, for example, week one, huge breakout game. Is it going to last? Now, through 4 weeks, he's still one of the top producing receivers in the league. So we can kind of say, this looks like a lasting impact kind of a thing, right? Same with like the Colts, Daniel Jones. They still look pretty legit, right? So I think through a month in the season now, we have a better idea. Still early days, still lots can change, but we definitely have a better idea. So we're starting to get into the meat of the NFL season, right? Uh, we know what each team is looking like, what each player's producing, and who's not. So I think these picks now it's kind of becoming easier. Well, not easier, right? NFL, anything can happen any given Sunday, but you can have a more educated guess, right? Each week leading up to this, I felt like definitely was more of I would guess this team, but now I feel like there's more of an educated guess. There's reasons, logic behind each thing. But also, like I said, any given Sunday, you never know truly what can happen. And that's the beauty of the sport. So without any further ado, let's get into my week five predictions, week five picks. Kicking off in a couple of hours, we have the Thursday night game. San Francisco 49ers visiting the Los Angeles Rams. I'm taking the Rams in this one. I just think the Rams are a really good team, and I think overall the 49ers just have too many injuries. Across pretty much every uh, position group, there's some sort of injury, lack of depth, whatever you want to call it. McCaffrey is still one of the best players in the league, so you can definitely lean on him. But I just think the Rams are a better team. They're going to lean on Puka, lean on Devontae Adams. They have a better overall team. And the 49ers just right now need to get healthy. They don't have enough juice, I think, all around to beat a good team on the road. Thursday night game, I'm going with the Rams. Our overseas game this week in London, we have the Vikings and the Browns. Dylan Gabriel making a start. That is the storyline. They benched Joe Flacco to go with first rookie quarterback that was selected. Obviously, the media has made a bunch about Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders. They're going with Dylan Gabriel here. Dylan Gabriel here. So that's obviously a fun storyline to look at. The Vikings should be the favorite. I think they're a better overall team. They've already been in Europe after they played there last week against the Steelers, so they didn't have to travel quite like the Browns. I'm going to go with my crazy upset pick here, though. Carson Wentz still is definitely not the worst backup, but he's a backup for a reason. So the Vikings still dealing with a backup quarterback. I say the Browns, they still have an elite defense. So do the Vikings, but the Browns, I've still been quite impressed with their defense. Dylan Gabriel's going to bring some sort of juice, some energy, but the Browns defense is going to be able to hold a backup quarterback like Carson Wentz and the Vikings offense. They're going to hold them still enough for the Browns offense to score some points with the new quarterback. Browns win ugly overseas. They're going to have an upset win over the Vikings. I'm going to have the Browns getting one of their rare wins this season, I will guess. Browns upset win over in London. Now coming back to the States, we got the Cowboys visiting the Jets. Cowboys have looked not bad offensively the last couple of weeks. Obviously, last week's tie, 40-40 shootout. Um, their defense is horrendous, but luckily the Jets' offense is also horrendous. I think the Cowboys will just score more points than the Jets going with the Cowboys in this game. I'm looking forward to see if George Pickens can continue to look like a wide receiver one. He's playing for a new contract next year to be paid like a number one alpha wide receiver. So far this season, he's looked like he has the potential to be that for a team, for a franchise, for an organization. Can he continue that? That'll be fun to look at. I'm also having fun watching Javonte Williams, his kind of like renaissance, right? Um, Coming off his rookie year, early days in Denver, one of the most exciting young players in the league. Extreme burst toughness, physical runner, could make big plays happen. Then the injuries, he has not looked the same really since then. This year, he's looking like the closest we have seen to rookie year Javonte Williams um, in his career since the injuries, right? it's been fun to watch that, see their offense. They're a fun offense to watch, see if that continues. Um, so go Cowboys there. Giants at Saints. Giants coming off that huge upset win last week against the Chargers. Jackson Dart definitely looked like he had something, right? Nothing crazy stats wise, but also I was very impressed with the running numbers. He might need to learn how to slide a little bit better, not take a hit when is not necessary, but you liked what you saw. He had the competitive spirit out there. Um, the defense, I've been saying it since the preseason, fun defense, but they lost Malik Neighbors, right? Who's going to step up in his spot? You're looking at Darius Slayton, Wandale Robinson, not the most elite weapons. Tyrone Tracy, I think, can get more work eventually uh, in like the wide receiver game because he's a pretty good pass catcher. But Cam Scatterbo has kind of become that wide receiver, not wide receiver, that running back one over there in New York. He's been a fun rookie to watch as well. Um, but they're going against the Saints team who I predicted they're going to go winless this year with like one of my bold predictions. They have not looked as bad as I thought they would. Now they have not looked good, but they have not looked as bad as I thought. They're at home. I can see this being a competitive game between two bad teams. Giants, they did win last week against a pretty good Chargers team, but I think that injury to Malik Neighbors, I think Jackson Dart has a week of film out there for the Saints to prepare for him. I think the Saints are going to get a home win here. So I think the Browns and the Saints going to get some of those rare wins so far in my first four predictions. So Saints are winning this game against the Giants. Then we got the Raiders Colts. Man, the Raiders, they kind of stink. I'm looking like kind of the last year and a half, I've been praising Geno Smith. I'm saying he's one of the maybe the most underrated quarterback in the league, and he has looked very bad to start the season. Um, just not looking comfortable in the pocket. The throws he's making are not the same throws that he was making last year. And that's been disappointing to see. Last week we finally had that Ashton Genty breakout. That was exciting. Seeing that borderline, maybe he had that tag of a generational running back prospect. So it's fun to see him kind of start to break out. He's going to be really good. I liked what I saw in the film in the games where he was less productive, and then last week he had that production. So Genty is fun to watch. Um, I'm hoping Gino, just for the sake of this team, they have some pieces to be fun. So I think hopefully Gino can get back to his form from last year. I want to see Brock Bowers. Yeah, I know he's been injured, so that's probably got something to do with it. But Jacoby Myers, Ashton Genty, they have some weapons. Need Gino to step it up. But the Colts are at home. The Colts have been the sleeper of this season. Uh, they looked a little bit back down to earth last week, but still, I think they looked fine, right? If that was the worst game of the season, that's okay. They lost to a good Rams team because AD Mitchell decided to throw the ball out of the back of the end zone. Um, I'm gonna go with the Colts with the win here. They're a good team. They're gonna win the AFC South. I'm gonna say that right now. They're gonna win the AFC South. I know the Jags look like a, a borderline playoff team. They've looked pretty good. So bold prediction right now. I'm gonna flip exact everything I've said. I'm gonna say right now that the Colts are gonna win the AFC South. Will I regret that later? Good chance I will. But saying the Colts are winning the AFC South, like they're gonna win this game against the Raiders. The next up we have the Dolphins versus the Panthers. Another matchup that I would not choose to watch between these two teams. I want to see Bryce Young look better. They looked good against the Falcons, and last week they were terrible. Dolphins lost Tyreek Hill, but they looked better uh, against the Jets, but Jets are also bad. I don't know what to do with this game. It's a toss up for me, really. Panthers are home. They have that advantage. Dolphins might be slightly better. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins with the road win on this game. That's just what I'm going to predict. Gut feeling, no. I'll be honest on this one. It's tough because I think both teams are bad. So I don't have a true logical explanation of why I think so, other than when I was watching last week the film on both teams. The Dolphins showed me a little bit more explosiveness last week offensively. Again, they can flip, like I said earlier, any given Sunday, anything can happen. But last week, I saw a little bit more juice. Surprisingly, Darren Waller for the Dolphins. So I'm going to give the slight edge there to Miami. They're going to win on the road against the Panthers. The next one, I think it's an intriguing matchup, not only because of my known bias, but I think it's two pretty good teams. We got the Broncos versus the Eagles. The Eagles, everybody at this point knows about their offensive woes in the past game. How can they please Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and they just haven't looked that good offensively. Saquon also hasn't looked the same as last year, even though that would be hard to do. But they're still probably based off of championship merit, their roster. They got to be. You have to say that they are the best team in the NFL right now. Um, but the Broncos have probably the best defense in the NFL. Bo Nix and J.K. Dobbins, they looked pretty good against, albeit a terrible Bengals defense last week. But that was the best Bo Nix has thrown the ball this season. J.K. Dobbins has been one of the most underrated runners in the league so far this season. So I think this will be a competitive matchup. Um, you're right. You want to say right away that the Eagles are the better team. They're at home. They should win, right? And that will be my prediction. I'm going to say the Eagles win this game, right? Until they prove me wrong, the Eagles are going to be my choice for a winner of pretty much every game, every matchup they have. But the argument you're going to have, and I think it will be a close game, and I think this is going to be one of those losses for the Broncos that really show people, oh, they could be a playoff team. It's because I believe in the defense. Pat Surtain is the best defensive back in the league. The Broncos lead the NFL in pressures and sacks. Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper off the edge. Um, Two of the lesser known stars at that pass rusher position. But the Broncos defense is very, very good. And the Eagles offense is not looking very good, right? Surtain can lock down any receiver. Um, but so that'll be interesting to see if the Broncos can stay in the game, be competitive with this Eagles team. That being said, Eagles are going to be my choice pretty much until I see a reason to not pick them. So very excited for this game because I am a fan of one of these teams, but also I think this is going to be two good playoff teams playing each other. Right? Some of the other games like Dolphins, Panthers, Giants, Saints, bad matchups against bad teams. These are some good teams right here. So I'm excited for this. Going with the Eagles in that game. Texans, Ravens. As I'm recording this, it looks like Lamar is not going to be playing. So, ooh, rough start to the season for the Ravens. They've been playing good teams, right? Chiefs, Bills, Lions, but they are 1-3, and they have some woes. Their defense does not look very good. Roquan Smith is not playing up to the level that he usually we have been accustomed to seeing. Um, Huge injuries. Across the team, right? Dominique Madubuike. I'm butchering that name right now, sorry, but he's out for the season. Huge loss to the defensive tackle for the Ravens. They have not looked good. The Texans also not very good, but I don't know how much you can trust a Cooper Rush led team. So I'm gonna go right here. Texans winning this game. Ravens gonna go to 1-4, which if anyone a team can come back from that, I think the Ravens can, but that's gonna put them in a rough position to make the playoffs. Texans are gonna win the game against the Ravens. Titans visiting the Cardinals. Cardinals are the better team. Titans are uh, they're struggling to say the least. That I don't think that they're going to be much improved for the rest of the season. There's a reason they picked number one last year. They're going to be top five again this year, I predict. I still like some of the things I've seen from Cam Ward, but rookie quarterback, not a lot of talent across the roster. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this game. They're the home team, but I mean, like it is tough because James Conner is gone. Now Trey Benson is gone for the Cardinals. Is it Amari DiMercado? They called up Trey Benson in this not Trey Benson, Michael Carter. He might be the starter of off of summer reports. So that's probably the thing I'm looking the most in this game. Who is going to be that RB1 for the Cardinals? Do they keep running it with people like Carter and DeMarcado? Do they start to throw more? Does Marvin Harrison is he still looking a little rough around the edges there? Can we get the ball to him more? Ball to guys like Trey McBride, of course. Michael Wilson get involved more. Interested to see how the Cardinals combat their running back depth issues, their injuries in this game. Cardinals are still going to win. They're still the better team. Buccaneers, Seahawks. This is a really fun one. Seahawks have been a sneaky, really fun team. They've had a lot of success to start the season, more than I would have expected, and more than a lot of people would have also expected, I think. Buccaneers have also been one of the better teams in the NFC. So I think this will be a really fun game. Two of the probably like that second tier in the NFC. You would say the Eagles and the Lions are probably in that tier one. Some people might try to push Green Bay into that tier, but the Buccaneers, Seahawks, probably for me, Green Bay is in that second tier of contenders in the NFC. So it'll be fun to see that matchup between the Buccaneers, Seahawks. I think the overall two very evenly matched teams. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks taking this game. I think Devon Witherspoon is going to be able to shut down the pass game for the Buccaneers enough. Bucky Irving is questionable. I bet he plays, but how healthy is he? Right? I think the Seahawks are going to win this game, going with Seattle in this matchup. And I'm very excited for this one. Next game is the Lions versus the Bengals. Not a lot to say. The Bengals stink. The Lions are very good. The Lions are going to win. Moving on, right? That's kind of going to be for a lot of the Bengals games and a lot of the Lions games. That's going to be my analysis, right? The Bengals aren't very good. Probably picking the other team. Lions are very good. Don't have to consider the other team. Uh, One matchup thing I will elaborate a little bit. I want to see Jamar Chase get involved more. Can they figure out ways to get him the ball? I know Jake Browning is not Joe Burrow. I know that Chase Brown is not performing the level you want. I know T. Higgins is not performing at the level that you would like. I know their defense stinks. Jamar Chase is on track, at least. It's probably still too early to say for sure. He's on track to be a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best weapons in the NFL. You got to get him the ball more. Last week's matchup was tough against Pat Surtain, but even said that being said, he's not getting targeted enough, in my opinion. It's one of those things where my team stinks. I have an elite player. Just throw the ball to Jamar, right? That's kind of my philosophy at this point. If I was the Bengals, I would like to see him try to get more involved in the offense for them to try to get him more touches. If they can try to find any success at all, it's going to be through Jamar Chase. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Um, but the Lions are still going to win. Commanders versus Chargers. Jaden Daniels is coming back banged up. Terry McLaurin is injured, not going to play. Still questions on who RB1 is. Is it Bill Krosky, Chris Rodriguez, right? Um, Chargers coming off a very disappointing loss last week. I think they're going to come out pissed off. They have a lot of injuries on the offensive line. Offensive line went from being a huge strength to being lots of question marks there. But I think they're going to come in pissed off that they lost to a bad Giants team. They're going to be able to take control of a banged up Jaden Daniels without some of his big weapons. I'm going to go with the LA Chargers in this matchup, which I think still on paper this will be a fun matchup, but I'm going to go with the Chargers here. Sunday night we have the Patriots versus the Bills. I saw it's going to be a whiteout for the Bills. That'll be fun. I think with their white uniforms. Could be a fun. Giving out white towels to all the fans. That'll be a fun environment to watch Sunday night. As far as the matchup goes, I mean it's a divisional game, so maybe sometimes those produce really fun things on prime time. But overall, the Bills are just a better team. They own the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills, they're going to beat the Patriots. So I'm going to go with the Bills over the Patriots. Then the Monday night game, this one could be sneaky exciting, right? Chiefs versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said earlier, Jaguars have some wins over some quality playoff caliber teams. The Chiefs are starting to figure it out as well, right? They looked a little rough to start the season. Last couple of weeks, they're building on that their offensive success. Xavier Worthy coming back with huge for the offense. They just opened up the whole game. You really saw Patrick Mahomes looking more Mahomes-esque. This will be a fun one. Chiefs are a good team, I think. Jaguars, I think, are a good team. But the Kansas City Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. The Jacksonville Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to go with the team that has Patrick Mahomes, who has maybe I'm not going to say the greatest yet, but the most talented, maybe, quarterback of all time. When it comes down to it, still, there's very few players who are going to take over Patrick Mahomes, even if it's not um, the best seasons we've ever seen from him the last couple of years. He's still Patrick Mahomes. He's still that guy, and no one's going to say that he's not, right? I think these two teams are evenly matched on paper as far as the whole roster goes, but I'm going to give the edge to the team who I think has the better quarterback, who has the best overall player. There we go. That's my week five predictions. That's through all the games. First week we have some bye weeks, so some teams aren't playing this week. No Steelers, no Falcons, among others. So I'm excited, right? We're really starting to get in the thick of football season. Be fun to see. I'm excited to track how off my predictions are this week as well, right? Never making going to be close to 100%, right? That'll be the best week ever if I ever come close to getting 100% of my predictions. Um, but here we go. Let me know your guys' thoughts, your comments, your predictions for week 5. Who you think is going to win? Who's going to have a breakout game? Some underrated matchups you're looking forward to. As always, I'm going to put the link to my blog in the description. Check it out at hoopsandstuff.blogspot.com. Always do a weekly write up for the NFL season. More things will be posted on there as well with the NBA season coming up. So I would appreciate you guys taking a look at that, checking it out. Um, but there it is, week 5 predictions and picks. Thank you guys for watching, for tuning in. Until next time, have a good one.